Well, good morning everyone. It's that time of the week, the beginning of the week again, and welcome to Monday's Thought for the Day. Last Monday I spoke about just taking a little time, 5 minutes at a time in your day, just to reflect and to take stock and just appreciate and be with God. And I want to sort of continue on that theme loosely. So I want to talk about taking it steady. And I was thinking about sort of one of the most inspirational stories during the first lockdown was 99-year-old Captain Tom Moore, who decided to raise funds for the NHS by completing 100 laps around his garden before his 100th birthday. And as Captain Tom very slowly paced himself with his walker, there was a younger man, Joe Wicks, who became the nation's PE teacher, effectively. And he was encouraging us all to start our day with an energetic workout. Not that I ever joined in with that. Maybe you did, I don't know. But unfortunately, due to a bit of over-enthusiasm on his part, he fell off his bike and fractured his hand. It required surgery and it put him out of action for a while. And the contrast between Captain Tom and Joe reminded me a little bit of Aesop's fables, the tortoise and the hare. And I think probably most of you know that story, where the hare is bragging about how fast he can run, and until the tortoise actually gets really fed up, weary of listening to the hare boasting, and he challenges the hare to a race. And the hare takes off at great speed, but unable to maintain the pace, stops for a rest and falls asleep. And while he's asleep, the tortoise overtakes him, passing the finishing line and winning the race. And the story concludes with, slow and steady won the race. And for children, that fable is used to provide comfort when things don't go according to plan. And it's a reminder to persevere, that their chance to shine will come if they continue to persevere, work hard towards their goal. But I wonder what it means in our current situation as we go through all the current challenges that COVID has brought to us. Because the last year, I suppose, has brought some personal and collective trials, hasn't it? And now I think there's a sort of time of immense weariness. Any initial enthusiasm during the first lockdown about embracing, new opportunities, seems to have been replaced by, I suppose I'd call it a digital fatigue, and battles with discouragement and frustrations and restrictions. And the repeated lockdowns have been described as like being stuck on an aeroplane in a holding pattern. We can see the runway beneath us, ready for a landing, that would enable us to progress to our intended destination. And it's been tempting to just give up. But perhaps there's an opportunity to use these difficult experiences to lean fully into God's ways and understand what the Bible tells us about remaining steady as we seek to serve God in the long run. Sometimes it happens in churches, happens to us as individuals. We put pressure on ourselves, thinking we must do more and more and more to further God's kingdom. More programs, more events, more courses, more ideas. And one of the results sometimes is that we can end up being burned out. But all God ever asks us to do is to remember his promises and to keep walking faithfully with him day by day. In Isaiah 46 it says, "Even to your old age and grey hairs I am he. I am he who will sustain you. I have made you and I will carry you. I will sustain you and I will rescue you." Just as the tortoise fixed his eyes on the finish line and Captain Tom focused on his target, we also have to be intentional. We have to keep our eyes fixed on Jesus. In Hebrews 12 it says, and I love this, it says, "And let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus." And although in the story it wasn't specifically mentioned, I like to think the tortoise didn't rely solely on his inner resilience to reach his destination, but that he was encouraged by the support of others on the way. I'm adding a little bit to the story there, really. And Captain Tom certainly had people to help him, and he had the British public cheering him on. And a fellowship in our Christian community is vital to enable us to build shared hope and steady each other. Galatians, it says, "Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ." So if there's anything that the last year has taught us, is that we can't remain steady through our own strength. Committing to spend regular time, even if it's that 5 minutes that I spoke about last week, spend regular time with God in prayer and Bible study. That's the foundation on which we can gain the strength to do everything else. Philippians, it says, Philippians 4, "I can do all this through him who gives me strength." And the world continually tells us what success is. It's fame, it's fortune, it's recognition. It's our moment in the spotlight. The Bible tells us to ignore that, to ignore what the world says, because success is a life of obedient faith, and we need to keep Jesus in the spotlight. And finally, our witness isn't an added extra. It's not based on the number of activities we're involved in. Modelling Jesus doesn't take place on a stage or require us to have a title. Our witness is our life. Every single part of it in all its ordinariness. Because of Captain Tom, I don't know whether you read this, but there was a 104-year-old lady called Ruth Saunders who was inspired to start daily walks, and she completed a marathon to support her local air ambulance service. It's incredible. What an inspiration both of those people are, but Ruth was inspired by Tom, and Ruth will have inspired others. And through steadfast service, we have an opportunity to show Jesus in all our actions, regardless of our circumstances, regardless of our giftings, regardless of our weaknesses, regardless of who we are. So see, this is what we need to do. Let's take our everyday, ordinary life, and most of our lives are ordinary. Our sleeping, our eating, our going to work, our walking around, and place all those things before God as an offering. And for us to remember that being steady is okay. Amen. Well, speak to you on Thursday, and as always, look after yourselves and take care. God bless. Bye-bye.